We're on the last stretch of a trip that we took to Chicago, USA, back on the 17th of December. And we drove south from Ottawa and stayed in Toronto overnight. From Toronto at my sister's, Chandrika, and then we drove down to Troy, Michigan, stayed with some friends. So we broke up the journey to make it at least not more than, well, Ottawa to Toronto is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Toronto to Troy, Michigan was about another 4 hours. But we crossed the border in a really interesting place of First Nations indigenous reservation called Walpole Island. And from there was a ferry that crossed over to the United States to Michigan in an area called Asa Bay across a river that is a part of the Lake Michigan. So from there we drove on to Chicago, and that was about another 5 hours. So luckily the weather was really cooperating. There was no snow really. There was a bit of ice that started when we left Troy, Michigan, but it all cleared up. So it was a fascinating drive along the highways from Michigan to the state of Indiana. And in the state of Indiana, we were turned off because of a crash through some towns. So Gary, Indiana, we were shocked to see some ghost towns in Gary, Indiana. Um, Everything was boarded up. Even community streets were all boarded up. So it was sad to see that ghost town. But it is what it is. I guess the economy, for whatever reason, has taken a hit, and that was that. So we entered Chicago through some back roads. So it was a fascinating drive overall. And we are driving our car. So there were a couple of risks involved in this, especially with what's happening in the south of the border. We were advised by many well-meaning people not to go down south. But we decided as a family to get together in Chicago at Samantha's brother's place, and and we are travelers. As a family, we are travelers. We take a lot of risks, and especially when somebody says don't do it, we like to go and check it out. And yes, there was a bit of trepidation. There's always a challenge. So the first challenge was crossing the border, and crossing in Walpole Island, there was a one-man hut virtually where we crossed on the ferry. On the other side, he just asked us what we were going to do in the States. We said we are going to Chicago. He asked why, and waved us through. So it was fine. And even so the next challenge is we're driving an old car. Right now it's got 295,000 kilometers. We put 2,600 or maybe 2,700 kilometers on this trip. It's an old Ford Fusion, 2009. That's a challenge too, but I trust this car. I know this car really well, and I know it'll take us. So that's why we take these risks, and we've done that with older cars across Canada. We took a whole van across Canada with the kids for 6 weeks in 2016. So we are travelers. So we've done this all over the world, to Europe, even in Sri Lanka. So you have to have a certain amount of trust in the universe, in yourself, and to undertake trips like this. So Samantha and I are like-minded in that way. So we had a wonderful time in Chicago. We went out, we were walking the streets, we saw some sights. We ended up even at a nightclub called Goodnight John Boy, where we went with the kids and had a wonderful time. And people were so friendly and nice. Nightclubs, sometimes have an edge, but no, it was fine. It's also a function of what kind of an energy are we putting out, right? If you are looking scared and angry and put that negative energy out, we're going to attract some negative energy ourselves. So we were always smiling, saying hello to people, and enjoying the experience, while all of these other things were happening around us. The news was telling us all kinds of stories, of some tragic stories of about some of the things that were happening in the States itself. But in spite of that, the people, we found that it was fine amongst the people. So, and here we are now. So we came back up from Chicago. We went to some friends in Grand Rapids in Michigan, and then from there we ended up again in Troy, Michigan, which is close to Detroit. Crossed the border, and then came to Cambridge, Ontario, and it was pouring with rain from the time we started from Michigan. But for me, I thought rain was a blessing. The fact that it was always above zero was a blessing. I'd take rain over snow anytime, so it was fine. It was tough to drive, but ended up with a cousin for lunch in Cambridge, Ontario. Came back to our sisters in Toronto and spent 2 nights with her. I had some business meetings, and now here we are on the last stretch. So we are about half an hour away from home, and I give gratitude to the universe for looking after us through this adventure, where we spent a lovely time with our 3 kids. One is in Sri Lanka, so and Samantha's brother, and here we are now. I am tired. I must say I'm ready for my own bed and get back into that routine. But one of the things that kept me going still throughout the trip is a daily exercise routine, daily meditation routine. When I wake up at 4 in the morning, that deep breathing practice that I do. So all of those things I continue through the holiday too, to stay grounded through strange places, strange beds, strange situations. But that's what keeps life exciting, isn't it? So here we are. Thank you for the time you take to listen to all of this, my YouTube channel, and I do it to help people to find their own inner strength, inner power, by getting out there, thinking positively, by having a daily spiritual practice, a gratitude practice. Even through the most difficult of times, we survived it, and the fact that we are together, oneness with nature, oneness with each other, interbeing, all of those things are things that keep us going. So just if you take a panoramic view of out there, so that's the highway 416 out there on our way to Ottawa. All right, be well, be happy, take care. Happy New Year.